Hi folks, this is Daryl Legacy, Instructional Designer at Hack. Today, we're going to talk about how to take attendance right in D2L. You can use this for both in-person and online classes, as well as things like student club meetings and even faculty meetings. You may already take attendance on paper, in a spreadsheet, or by using Zoom's reports feature for online classes. But the big advantage of taking attendance in D2L is that the students will be able to see it. Whether you do this instead of or in addition to your usual method, allowing the students to see their attendance in real time puts additional responsibility on them. Not only will they see how their overall attendance is going, they can more easily check in with you if they are ever inadvertently marked absent. You can also have D2L show you a warning when a student's attendance dips below a certain threshold. If you're using the default nav bar in your D2L course, click on Attendance in the Resources drop-down menu. If you're using a custom navbar, click on Edit Course or wherever you go to see all the available D2L tools. Scroll down to the Learning Management section and click Attendance. If you've never used the Attendance tool before, it will say that there are no registers available. A register is basically a set of entries for one specific kind of activity. For most faculty, you probably just need one register to track attendance for class meetings. You can make additional registers for things like mandatory study sessions or extra credit online meetings. Let's just make one register for our class meetings for now. Click New Register. Give it a name. I'm just going to call it Class Attendance. You can give it a description, but that's optional. You need to choose what kind of scheme to use. System Scheme lets you choose present or absent for each student for each meeting. You can also leave it set on None. None could be an option if you want to indicate that a student was not in class, but you don't want to count them absent. The other scheme is with excused absence. This offers present, absent, and excused absence, as well as the None option. This would probably work better than the None option to indicate if someone isn't in class but isn't being counted absent. For now, let's choose the System scheme to see what it looks like. We'll also make an example with the excused absence scheme to compare the two. You can make a custom scheme as well, which we'll talk about in just a bit. In the Cause for Concern box, you can type a percentage. When a student's attendance falls below that percentage, it will be read with an exclamation point next to their attendance percentage when you look at the register. This can be useful to remind you to check in with a student whose attendance is lagging. Or, if your attendance policy has a minimum percentage that students must attend in order to earn points, you can use it to quickly see which students are under that level. I'm going to type 75% there so that you can see what the warning looks like. Make sure the box that says Allow users to view this attendance register is checked. If you uncheck this box, students won't be able to see their own attendance for the course. Having them be responsible for their own attendance is one of the key strengths of using the D2L attendance tool, so it's usually best to leave this on. Under Users, you can decide whether to include all students in this register or only students in specific groups or sections. This can be helpful if you have two different class sections using the same D2L shell, or if you have some students meet on one day and other students meet on the other day, like with labs. In that situation, you may want one register for lecture days, which includes all the students, and separate registers for each lab with just the students in that section. Sessions are the individual meeting times. If you're keeping track of an activity that students can do anytime during the week, such as coming to office hours or using tutoring, you may just want to label each meeting time as week 1, week 2, etc. If you're tracking every class meeting, it's best to use dates rather than class 1, class 2. Using dates makes it much easier for both you and students to track which days they have missed and to correct any mistakes. It can also help you identify if a student missed something specific in class on a specific day. If you need to add a lot of sessions, you can type the number to add in the box and click the Add Sessions button. If you're going to name the sessions by date, it's best to use a shortened form so that it fits better when you look at the gradebook. Using 8-25 or 8/25 works best, though you can also use 8/25. When you're done, click Save and then Close. If you need to change anything about the register, click the down arrow and edit. Otherwise, click on the name to start taking attendance. Click on the calendar icon in a specific session to enter that day's attendance. We use the system scheme for this register, so your only options are P, A, or none. I'm going to mark each student with one of these options to show what they look like. Click Save when you're done. The P and A both show up, and the one we left as none just looks empty, the same as any day we didn't track yet. The columns on the right show how many presents and absents each student has, and also shows their total attendance percentage. Since we set the cause for concern at 75%, you can see that our second student's percentage is red, with a small exclamation point next to it. Again, this can help you track which students are not meeting your attendance expectations. Two quick notes about the warning. First, only you will see that warning, not the students. It will show them their percentage and total absences, but not the warning icon. Second, if a student is absent early in the semester, it will show you the warning until they exceed the cause for concern percentage. This could be several weeks if they missed one of the first few classes. Let's edit our register to use the with excused absences scheme. Click the down arrow and edit register. Change the system scheme. A warning box will pop up notifying you that all attendance data will be lost if you change schemes. That's fine, so click Save and then Close. Click on the register and the calendar for one of the sessions. Your options are now P, E, A, or none. I'm going to choose one of each, except for none, to show what they look like. I'll save it and then close. You'll see that when it totals them up and calculates the percentage, it's counting E as present. If you don't want a session to be counted at all, you would have to leave it as none. Let's click on a different session to talk about the most efficient ways to take attendance with this tool. I only have 3 students here, but you could have 20 or 30 or more. If you have more than 20 students, you'll want to click on the drop-down menu at the bottom to increase how many show up on each page. If you choose any of the options that are larger than your class size, it will just show them all on one page. If you click the small box on the upper left, it will select all students. Now click Set Status. If most of the students are present, you can set them all to P. Then, just determine who is absent and change those specific students to an A manually, or by clicking the box next to those and doing Set Status again. This is the most efficient way for any class with more than a handful of students. If you ever have a situation where more than half the class is absent, you can set the status for everyone to A and then just change the ones who are present. Click Close and then Done to get back to the main attendance page. Click the Attendance Schemes tab. You'll see any schemes already present in the course. If you're going to create several registers, you can change the default scheme so you don't need to click it every time you make a new one. You can also click New Scheme. Give it a name, and then add whatever symbols you want. You might want P, A, E, and L for late. Or maybe you want to add an LE option to denote someone left early. Give each one both a symbol and a full name. Then, decide what percentage each symbol will count for the overall percentage. Present should be 100, and absent should be 0, but the others are up to you. You might even want a late that is worth 75% and a very late that is worth only 25%. You can change the order they display with the numbers on the right, and you can add statuses with the button on the bottom. Once you're finished, click Save, and then click Close. You'll now be able to choose that custom scheme when you create or edit a register, and you can make it the default by clicking Set on this page. A couple last tips. Click on the register again so you can see all the students and sessions. You can click Export All Data to export it into a file that can be opened in Excel. This is a good way to save the attendance at the end of the semester if you want to keep a record of it. You can also click the box next to specific students' names and then click the email button to send emails to all of them. It automatically puts them as blind carbon copy so that you aren't violating FERPA rules. This is a way to email students whose attendance is low or has recently begun to decline. Or you can use it to give kudos to students whose attendance is excellent. That's it for attendance in D2L. It can really help for your students to be able to see their attendance, especially if you count it toward their grade. And making them be responsible for any errors can help take some of the pressure off you. Plus, this lets you easily view and save a record of all your attendance if you want to. I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, please contact me or someone else on the CDI team.